Through the KRC Power Steering restart zone. Brandon Pierce spun the tires, missed the gear or something, and we've got big problems. Oh, big problems, turn one. Matt Cox, Camden Gully, that hurt.
Got the 19 of Sammy Smith, Stacy Pereira, Nolan Pope. Big wreck.
Yeah, the 01 of Camden Gully is down there. Of course, Matt Cox, and that's the one you worry about. Obviously, the speeds were lower, but a big T-bone on Camden Gully's car. This is the 4 of Jonathan Finley, the 17 of Stacy Puryear, the 74 of Ronald Hill, and Hill, problems right in front of him. Bobby McCarty around, contact from Brandon Clements, and that will slow us yet again with 46 laps complete. Through the KRC Power Steering restart zone, Lane Riggs is the control car. And he'll get the advantage. Entering turn number 1, moves Minnie Terrell up the hill over the bump. I saw the hood fly up on Minnie's car. That bump is so severe now.
And then Corey Hiram's going to take that bottom line and try to get around Minnie.
Oh, problems! Minnie Terrell, Justin Johnson, Brandon Pierce, all in it. Jonathan Finley, Trevor Ward. We're still crashing here on the front straightaway.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know about all that logic. We're about lap 60, about halfway through the race, and we're already clipping race cars left and right, so I'm not sure whose head isn't screwed on right, but it needs to change.
Riggs again. Jared Fryer would love more contact behind him. Ronald Hill, Stacy Puryear, McCarty, and Nolan Pope all in it. That was a heck of a lick for Stacy Puryear.
Yes, it was.
Checkers are in the air for the flag stand. This race has been called due to curfew and track repairs, or lack thereof, being able to be administered on the back straightaway. Lane Riggs has ended the 7-for-7 streak. The first two-time winner goes back-to-back here at Carteret County. He closes the point gap on Jared Fryer, and we will go down trackside to Edelbrock Victory Lane and talk to Lane Riggs.
All right, I got this thing ringing. It's ringing. Danny, oh please, Danny, don't put me on the red list. Oh gosh, did I get penalized too?
Hello, Doc. Yep. No, you haven't been penalized, sir. You're good.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. Hey, buddy, how you doing, Danny?
Doing good. Hope you are.
Yes, sir. Hanging in there, my friend. Wow. What a wild weekend at the races and a wild week this week at the Race22 radio studios and a wild week at the Cars Tour office, apparently. So, man, we got lots to cover, so let's jump right into it, Danny. I want to welcome everybody. Race22 Radio. This is the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour post-race recap podcast presented by Black Acid Apparel with series race director, Mr. Danny Willard. Black Acid Apparel. Be sure to search them up on Facebook. Black Acid Apparel, the official outfitter, Race22 Radio. That's why Doc Love looks so good every time I'm at the racetrack, so they can make you or anything you got look so good as well. Be sure to connect with them on Facebook, Black Acid Apparel. Well, this past weekend, September 12th, 2020, at the Carteret County Speedway, Swansboro, North Carolina, was the Solid Rock Carriers 125, race number 8 for the late model stock cars, scheduled 125 laps. Didn't quite make it that far. Wow. Have you ever run into that issue before, Danny?
Not with the car store, I haven't. I've run into it before, but it's been a long time. But we've never had this issue with the car store. It was just just a wild night that I'm still recovering from.
Oh man, I'm telling you, it was something to watch, and I'm sure the folks that were there in person was something to behold there, to be in there all afternoon. So speaking of watching, I had to watch it here in the Race22 radio studios. Tony Stevens there in charge, in calling all the action. Had my buddy Stephen Dunn, the Steesh, his nickname. I got to ask him about that. That's quite the nickname there. The Graphic Solutions owner-operator, the head man in charge over there. Plus, he is the co-host with his buddy Kyle Painter on the Bologna Burger podcast. Huge supporters of the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour. So he was in the booth with him, and Steven did a fantastic job. And he kept Tony pretty straight there. He was co-hosting there, doing the calling the action there. Did a really good job. And, of course, our friend Lenny Baticki calling the action from Pit Road. Of course, Lenny, PRN, at the track. So they caught that action on carstour.tv and pitroad.tv. So those guys did a fantastic job. Well, no surprise yesterday, as everybody has seen today. It was released on the race22.com, but yesterday penalties were handed down. We can cover that here real quickly, Danny. I know you were consulted a little bit. But the decision, as covered in the story, Mr. Jack McNally, judge, jury, and what? How's the saying go?
Yeah, the final say-so?
Yeah, he made the final decision on the penalties and everything that goes with it. So the Cars Tours handed down some severe penalties to a couple of the situations that occurred during the running of the Solid Rock Carriers 125 this past weekend at Carteret. So we'll start with Brandon Pierce, driver there at Lee Pulliam Performance. He has been suspended with the Cars Tour for the next event at the Florence Motor Speedway. It's scheduled for October 3rd. Fined from his winnings of $1,525 for his finishing position, and he'll be he was suspended for the commission of flagrant rough driving. Listed in the 2020 Cars Tour Late Model Stock Car Rulebook. Now, according to the rundown sheet that's still made public, he kept his finishing position and points. He did garner points on his finishing position. Still a pretty severe penalty, Danny. That's kind of, when you look back at some of the penalties that were handed down before, when you get something that severe from a sanctioning body, they usually wipe out everything. Is this kind of a unique situation to see the winnings taken away, garnished, but not the penalties and finishing position?
Well, every series they react differently. Every series has a different penalty for doing certain actions on the racetrack or off the racetracks. I was consulted, by Jack. We did talk. He also talked to some other officials. Don't know who all they were. He got everybody's opinions together, and then Jack made the final decision on what was going to happen after the altercation with Pope and the big, huge wreck on the front stretch with Brandon Pierce. It was one of those deals where, Jack does a restart zone. So Jack was in turn 4. Tight racing at Carteret County. A lot of the racetracks we go to, we've talked about before in the past, we have a lot of tight racing. The guys on top of each other, a lot of rubbing, a lot of grinding. I mean, that's racing. The situation here, it was a bad situation for every team that was involved in the wreck on the front stretch. There was contact with the two getting into the back of the 81. 81 got turned. And then we had a mess. We had cars flying everywhere. It wasn't intentional. I don't drive the race car. It's like I tell everybody, I'm not pushing the gas and I'm not pushing the brake. All you can do is look at video and look at the wreck, firsthand, and then make a decision on what you're going to do. The first thing I was going to do was black flag the two of Pierce. We never got that far because Pierce come down pit road. We had a big red flag situation, of course, because the whole front stretch was full of cars from the crash. And, and a lot of people, then you get to the next step of, do you want to park that car or not? And I didn't get that far. I didn't, at the time, there's a fine line. There's hard racing, there's wrecking, but like I said, it was just a bad situation. Pierce did get into the back of the 81. And if you look at the videos, it's hard not to think that the wreck was caused by the two of Pierce. I understand that. But, also to defend Pierce, I don't know if the 81 possibly got off the gas, got on the brake. I don't know that. But all you can do is go with what I saw, and then of course the home office, Jack, Tony Stevens, he had all the video. They went back on Monday, I believe, and went back and played it, over and over. This is what they did to home office. I was not there, so I did not have I was not there to watch this, but Jack went back and, made a final decision. He went back and decided that it was something he felt like that could have been prevented, possibly, and the only way it could have been prevented, I guess in Jack's eyes, is the two car could have backed off and let him go. But then again, it's hard racing, but then again, there's a fine situation there. But, you've got to take control. We've had some situations this year where some teams, certain drivers, have been very, very aggressive. And I've addressed it at every driver's meeting. I want it to be intense. I want them to race hard. At every driver's meeting, all the drivers there, all the teams, crew chief, spotters, whatever, they know, what I've been saying. I said, but when you go past that and you wreck someone, there will be consequences. In this particular situation, Jack, his final decision was it could have been prevented. I like everything, the penalty that came down from Jack was not the penalty that I come up with. I had a difference of opinion on it. I'll just say that. Everybody has an opinion in this deal. But, Jack, like I said, he had the view down there in turn 4. He went back and watched the video on Monday that Tony Stevens went down there, and they broke it down frame by frame. And, Jack owns the series, and Jack makes the final call. And this is what Jack come up with, and here we are. I have to stand behind Jack because, hey, he owns the series. So, if the 2 and the 1, if they decide to appeal it, who knows? I don't know if anything will change or not. There's just a lot of opinions on situations like this, on how they happen. And everybody's going to have a different opinion on what happened. As a race fan, as a team, watching their car get hauled off on a record, they're going to blame somebody. Somebody's going to get blamed on this deal. And unfortunately, this situation, it looked like, everybody wanted to blame the 2-car Pierce. And, you go back and you look at the video, he did get into the back of the 81, and I'm just going to say, it looked like he made a mistake. Yeah, and when you make a mistake, sometimes there's consequences. Yeah. And here we are.
Well, Brandon is a very stand-up guy, and I had a great conversation with him yesterday. I'm going to play the soundbite before we get on to the next penalty. Had a great conversation. He was straight up. Said, yeah, made a mistake. But before we get into that, I want to tell you how I see it. I try to watch the races very neutral. Like you said, these cars were nose to tail. These cars are so close, especially this year. First, 20 cars were 0.4 of a second in qualifying. So in race trim, after tires are wore out, how close are they then? Within 3-4 tenths, the entire field. So
right.
Your top 10 are right there on top of each other, a couple tenths. Okay.
Right, I agree.
So even if many when he went over the bump or whatever and broke traction coming through 3 and 4, that means he broke forward momentum. Even at this minute, even at the slightest bit, what's going to happen? All right? The 2 car has 2 options. Try to push through it and minimize his damage, or jam on the brakes and get killed. Get run over. So 2 options. The 2 car is going to be in it either way. And either the 81 is going to be in it major or not. And that depends on how the 2 car reacts. So in my opinion, Brandon was in a no-win situation. And he's going to take all the blame. And the first thing when I called Brandon, he was stand up. Yep, I made a mistake. I'll take full responsibility. And you'll hear that in the soundbite. So hats off to Brandon. He's not hiding from it.
I agree.
He's not wavering from it. He's absolutely stand up about it. And those that think that he just shows up and drives, you better think again. He works a full-time job and works night shifts sometimes. I had to wait a day to talk to him because he worked night shift.
Right.
And he pays for the repairs.
Correct.
He don't have, daddy pays for him. I know a lot of people think that's the truth, but he pays for his own repairs out of his own paycheck, and he works on those cars. So, just want to make sure people understood that. So, and the racing is tight, and when you're nose to tail, and somebody breaks the forward momentum, not necessarily traction or spins sideways, I'm talking about just breaking forward momentum. Brandon has 2 options. If he lets out the gas, he's going to get run over. If he jams on the brakes, there's going to be a huge mess. So
yeah, there's no perfect way to plan a crash.
So all these keyboard cowboys, all these keyboard cowboys that are really rough on Brandon, come on, give me a break.
Yeah, I agree.
How many of these cats been in a race car would do the right thing? None.
Right.
Give me a break.
Racers, they make mistakes.
There's not one driver out there in that series that is perfect. There's not one that hasn't made a mistake. And everybody can point fingers, but if unless you're perfect, come on, give me a break, okay?
Correct. I agree.
But I would rather see a driver pushing forward to keep trying to make that win, and maybe every time you see something bent, well, there's that guy, but he's driving forward.
Right.
I
agree. I agree.
And when you look at the past several races, he's not been the only one that's had bent sheet metal up front trying to make it, going for the win.
Correct.
So I think the fan base, what I call fandom, looking through fandom goggles, hey, if he's not your favorite, have fun. You pay your money, boo, cheer, whatever, have fun, but don't make it personal. I don't like to see that, especially when I'm talking about things on my personal social media, and people take shots at other people and make it personal. I don't really care for that. That I don't like.
I agree.
I agree. So let me share with some of the excerpts of with Brandon real quick before we get into the other parts. The second part of the issue, talking about 2 spectrums of 2 different penalties. Jack was a busy boy. Maybe he should have had. I don't know if he had his helmet on or it got knocked off. We'll have to talk about that. Ask him about that. But yeah, I did. I called and spoke with Brandon Pierce, the driver of the 2 machine, Lead Pulliam Performance. Good-looking race car, race winner. From a championship caliber team, no question. Dude wants to win races and drives like he wants to win races. And I'd rather, and everybody says this, I'd rather have to slow a guy down than speed him up. There you go. And there's a perfect scenario. I hope they appeal that and present a good case on the fact that he was in a no-win situation.
Right.
No matter how it was handled, I don't think he just drove through like everybody's saying. I don't think that was the case. I think he tried to take the safest way out to protect his position, and take, because when you're in that car, what do they talk about at the top level? Hey, I'm out here for myself. Well, that's the way you got to be, and that's exactly what he did. He tried to protect his position and his future finish, and that's exactly what I would have done. I mean, what does every race car driver say? If my grandma's in front of me, I'm going to spin her out for a win.
That's right.
Does this not apply? Does this not apply right here?
Yeah,
okay.
I see exactly what you're saying. I mean,
right.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I understand. I think there's a lot of things you just touched on. I agree with you 100%. I mean,
so let's let me play this with Brandon. Had a great conversation with him, and I wanted him to explain from his side, through his windshield, what he was thinking about and how he saw it. So, he takes it right, as we get through that restart.
Yes, sir. We just had that restart right there, and Lane was really, really strong, and Minnie was as well. Corey, Justin Johnson got there and knew I had Jared behind me as well. So, there's a heck of a dip off of turn 2, so everybody's fighting for all they can get. And the 08 actually got a really good run off of 2. I knew he was going to. Knew Justin was going to be tough. They had a great car. Everybody up front had great cars, and it was just really unfortunate. We dove off down there into turn 3, and I saw the 81 wash up a little bit in front of me. There's no initial contact there. I think Minnie just I'm not sure if his car got upset hitting that patch where they had been, where the track had come up, or if he just got in there a little hot. But he did get up the racetrack a little bit, and I just ran my line like I had been all night. And when I gassed up, I got a heck of a run off the corner, and at that time, Minnie had a lot of wheel in his car, turning it back down, but it's plain and simple. I'm not making any excuses. Unfortunately, I gassed up and got in the back of Minnie, and right there where we were, it's the fastest part of the racetrack. Everybody's getting a heck of a run off of turn 4 because of the bump in 2. If you're not on the bottom, you're almost kind of half a 3/4 throttle going through that bump off of 2. So off of turn 4, in my opinion, is clearly the fastest part of the racetrack. I got a heck of a run, and I got in the back of them. And I hate all the cars that got tore up. Everybody was right there running on top of each other. Of course, I got into them by that time and trying to get out of them. It had turned him down the racetrack into Justin, unfortunately. And then everybody just started piling in. So in no way, shape, or form was that my intention. Everything happened real fast. To be completely honest with you, by the time, could even really process what all had happened, the contact had already been made. And at that point of the racetrack, just the way I caught his bumper, it was going to turn him. So definitely didn't mean to do it. Feel terrible about it. Admitted right when it happened that it was my fault. Still stick to it that it was my fault. It was never my intention to tear up that many race cars. I've talked to Brandon Butler, Minnie's crew chief and spotter, and talked to Minnie that night as well. And it's just very unfortunate. Terrible for everybody involved. Unfortunately, I think we all know how tight that racetrack is. And again, we saw how everybody was running nose to tail, and I made a mistake and unfortunately tore up a bunch of race cars. Right there with everybody running so tight, I just the only way to avoid it, of course, hindsight's always 20/20, is to say not to get into them. And of course, if I could do it over again, I would try to maybe drag the brake or do something different. But like I said, it was a restart, trying to get all I could get. The top there is tough, and you're trying to make as much leeway as you can. And I just unfortunately made a mistake, hard racing, and got in the back of Minnie, and it was the worst outcome possible for sure.
And you've been racing long enough, Brandon, to where now, think about the situation that you were in. You knew that where you were and trying to grab positions, and when you see that happen, if you jam on the brakes, what's going to happen? You're still going to have the field coming up on you. So you're in a no-win situation no matter how you look at it.
Yes, sir, absolutely. You're correct. And, of course, that did play into my mind. Again, though, I just want to say that, I can't say I'm sorry enough. Sorry doesn't fix race cars, but, contrary to what some may think, I've got to pay to fix mine too. So nobody has to tell me how much it costs to fix these things, or, the facts of, the bottom line of me turning the 81 and it causing a chain reaction wreck on the front stretch. All that's true. And all that points back to me, and that's correct. However, nothing about it, was intentional, and I do feel terrible about it. And like I said, I got to pay to fix mine, and I know what all the frustration and everything that everybody said. Some of it I think is a little out of line, but people are always going to talk, and I understand everybody's frustration, and I'd be mad too. I've been in 2 wrecks down there at Carteret prior to this one. Last year I almost ended up on the side. There was a big wreck down there. Year before that, big wreck down there. We were able to limp around and finish 3rd for that one. But I love the facility, and of course Bobby Watson was a great man and done a lot and has a heck of a facility down there. But I just, unfortunately, I think for this series, I think it's a little too tight. And of course, the unfortunate circumstances with the racetrack didn't help anything. But the racetrack coming up didn't cause the incident that I caused. Of course, I was sitting around and everybody having to sit. Got everybody's nerves, I think, a little jacked up. But like I said, it's plain and simple. I just made a mistake coming off the corner, and it caused a big wreck. But as you said, I knew in that short instance I had 2 options, and it was get into Minnie and hopefully catch him square, which I didn't, and that's why it turned him. My intentions was to push Minnie, and I pushed him. I just pushed him the wrong way. I caught him on the corner of his bumper cover, and it turned him. Or jam on the brakes, and probably what happened to Minnie happened to me, or worse, right there, because everybody was so tight coming off the corner. So as you said, it was a lose-lose situation. But again, I take full responsibility for what happened, and hate to see all the carnage of torn up race cars. But again, I know what my intentions were there, and it wasn't to turn the 81. I did turn him, and I do feel bad about it, and feel bad for everybody that got torn up. But again, I got a torn up race car too, so I understand everybody's frustrations with me and the money it's going to take to fix them and the time, and it's very unfortunate. But my wreck the other night isn't the first time that's happened. There's plenty of big wrecks like that have happened, and of course, though, I'm in the spotlight because I'm the most recent one, and I'm willing to accept that.
And that's the thoughts of Brandon Pierce. Excellent, thoughts from him, and I appreciate him speaking candid, and I appreciate him speaking with Brandon. You saw the article, Race22.com, out today as we're recording today. What is this? September 17th on the recording. And I do apologize. We are a couple days late. Had some technical difficulties. Please keep in mind, old Doc Love retired from this, doing this sort of thing. Been 10 years. And Langley and Tony got me out of retirement unexpectedly, so I did not expect to be doing this stuff. I'm doing this sort of stuff with 12-year-old, 13-year-old laptops, okay? So I couldn't get this thing cranked up. I couldn't get it working, so I had some difficulties with it. But we come up with a plan B, and lo and behold, it worked. So we're off and running. So I do apologize. The delay in this podcast is not because we were waiting or hiding from the penalties, or they didn't want to put it out because there's penalties, whatever. No, it's because Doc Love has ancient, not only am I ancient, so is my laptops. so that's the reason for that. So I thought I'd share that. So we ain't hiding from nothing. I can't hide from nothing.
Replace the batteries and ready to go.
No, well, yeah. I don't even know if it has batteries. It's so old. Good Lord, this thing's old. I mean, you look at these laptops today, they're so tiny. This thing is huge. But anyway, let's take a look at the other side of that. And you touched on it briefly. Let's see, need a little light here. Nolan Pope, who normally seems kind of mild-mannered, and I touched on this before in interviews on how tall he was. He's a tall drink of water, pretty stout himself.
Yeah, he's
with the Lee Falk Development Racing program, he is fined of his winnings of $1,450 and disqualified the 2020 Lucas Oil Touring 12 program, and as well as being eligible for next year's Touring 12 program, and placed on probation for the remainder of this season. And that action is response to Pope's attempt to initiate multiple physical altercations in a competitor's pit area. And at his sole discretion, Cars Tour determination and agreement with Pope's for actions detrimental to the sport of auto racing and the Cars Tour. And that was directly information that was sent out to the competitors the other day. So now, and that was with the couple of incidents they had with the 74 machine and Ronald Hill. And then that was during the red flag, as you said, during the big melee, when Jack was trying to see all what was happened during the big crash. He turned around and there looked like a hockey game going on. There was people hip checking and everything else. And I, watching on TV, I've seen a good friend of mine that I've known, and you've raced with years ago, Dean Ward, his son Trevor, raced with us, a staple with the series. Got to the track late. He was slated to race a modified, and his other son was going to race a limited car at Franklin County, but that's where the weather was, so they diverted, hauled butt back to Carteret just so they could watch their son. And Ronald's team was, he asked Ronald to assist Trevor if they needed anything, so, he ventured over to Ronald's pit just to see if they could assist and watch or help anything. And he was an innocent bystander, just watching over at the corner. And all of a sudden, I saw Dean just come unglued, just absolutely unhinged. And I thought, oh Lord, he's going to hurt somebody because nobody had a hold of him. And I've known him for a long time, and that's one man that I don't want mad at me. I'm telling you. And I think somebody found that out Sunday at Hickory. But that's another story for another time. And I worried about that, and I thought, somebody please grab a hold of him, because if they let him loose, he's going to hurt somebody, and I don't want him to get fined or whatever. And I called Dean to ask him, dude, what set you off? And during that melee, now keep in mind, the melee that shown on the TV coverage was in Ronald Hill's pit area. And apparently Mr. McNally started raising, the devil with one of Ronald Hill's crew. And that's what set Dean off. He said, no, sir. And he went over to Jack and started raising Cain. And I, no, Dean, you don't do that. But I think Dean was right. And he said, Jack, they came to Ronald's pit. Why are you fussing at Ronald's crew? They came to Ronald's house. So, and that, kind of talked about, honor, respect, etiquette at the racetrack.
Right.
I think sometimes that's missing. Not necessarily with Pope, in this situation, but that kind of brought up that maybe some of these young racers, that's kind of missing these days.
Right.
Or I don't know if they're not taught that in cartoon racing or go-kart racing or whatever they come from before they get to this, because they skip so many levels. Where in our day, you go through, several levels of actual car racing before you get to late models. And you learn that at the racetrack.
Right.
And I really thought that really hit on something. There's a lot of things that are missing sometimes, respect and etiquette. Because Dean said,
I agree.
Even if it was his son, if there's a problem and you come to my pit, even if you're mad at me, we can talk. But don't come over here raising your fist or raising Cain. Then there's going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what happened over there. And apparently, and you can, since you had you were the race director and had the conversation with Jack, apparently it escalated twice with Pope and the Hill gang.
It did. It happened twice. The first time, there was a lot of commotion down there in the Hill pit area about what happened on the racetrack between the 74 and the 1. They had a bad racing incident on the track. You know, 74 and one got together. You know, one got the worst of it. I can understand Nolan being mad. I mean, I've talked to Nolan several times. I've got to know him a little bit.
Yeah.
Got a lot of respect for he and Lee Falk Racing.
Oh, absolutely.
Just like I do for Brandon Pierce and Lee Pulliam Racing. Let me go and get that out of the way too. You know, that's not the issue here. But you know, and I've been in Pope's situation before where my car's tore up and I just had something happen on track, and I made a mistake and went to someone else's pits before, and that's wrong. Especially when you go over there and you're not there to talk. You can tell you're there, you know, the anger is taken over.
Right.
So, you know, there was, you know, lunges by Nolan. I'm sure you've seen the videos, you know,
Yeah.
and stuff. And unfortunately, somewhere along the way, Jack got knocked down. I'll just say that. One time I looked and Jack got knocked down. I don't know if the pile of shoving shifted and Jack wasn't expecting it, but you know, I did see that. And
goodness, I didn't realize that.
Well,
oh my.
Well, that's not a good thing.
No, not at all.
When the series owner, you know, gets knocked down, regardless of who did it, you got to remember why it happened. And so I don't know if that had any influence on the decision that was made towards Pope, the penalties. I can't answer that. I mean, you know, here we go again. You know, Jack did ask me my opinion. I gave it to him on Sunday by text. You know, did everything go down like I thought it was going to go down as far as penalty-wise? No, Jack had a different view on this one as well. You know, but like I said, it's Jack's final say-so, and you know, I don't know if it would have been different if it wouldn't have happened twice. I can't answer that, but it did happen twice. But like I said, I can understand Pope being upset. You know, I've been there before. I mean, car tore up, you know, but everybody knows in racing you can't go in another man's pits ticked off and act like you're wanting to possibly have an altercation, shoving, or anything. I mean, you can't do that. There's going to be penalties. You know, in any pretty much every racetrack across the country has some kind of penalty that says, you know, you don't go into another man's pits. You know, talking's one thing. Going over there and talking, they say, you know, man, can I come talk to you for a second? I've been there before. You know, let's me and you talk about what just happened. But sometimes the anger takes over. I mean, I understand that, and unfortunately, it took over the other night for Pope, and now he's got to face the penalties that's been addressed and handed down to him and that team. But you know, there was contact on the racetrack between the 74 and 1, and unfortunately, like I said, the one got the worst of it, and then we're off.
Did you go back and look at the video for that since there was altercation?
I did.
Your thoughts on that?
Racing incident, very close. I mean, I think the 74 was trying to get the position on the one coming to the inside. I think the one was, you know, had the position. He was kind of towards the middle of the track, and just me guesstimating, I mean, just like everybody else does, I think the 74 was thinking the one was going to give him more room and give him the position, but he did not. And when he did, I think the 74 kind of, I don't know how to say it. I mean, I got a lot of respect for Ronald Hill. Right. I know Ronald wouldn't wreck anybody intentionally. I mean, Ronald's run with us for years, and we've never had any type of issue like this. I think he overshot it. I mean, I guess I'll say that. I think, you know, he thought a hole was going to be there possibly. The one, you know, did come down a little bit when the 74 was trying to go to the inside of him. But here we go again. I mean, you know, the one got tore up, the 74 got tore up, the one got the worst of it, and then, that was hard racing on that one. I think both drivers, if they go back and look at the video real hard, I think they'll kind of come to the same conclusion I am. And at the end of the day, if you think about the two drivers that were involved in this situation, we usually don't have this conversation about the one of Pope or the 74 of Hill. So that's why I'm thinking it was a bad situation. There's some drivers out there that do put themselves in a situation kind of more than one time during the season, and so you kind of expect maybe, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But with these two drivers here, you don't expect that. It was a bad situation for both of them. Tempers flared up, and Pope didn't handle it totally correctly, unfortunately. Like I said, we don't usually have this situation with Pope,
Right.
and but we did the other night, and here we are.
Yeah, a couple of takeaways on that. First, when I saw Pope really getting upset and pushing towards Ronald Hill's group and all that, Ronald was leaning against the car smoking a cigarette. He never flinched. Thought that was quite humorous.
I did see that, and I didn't get a chance to talk to Nolan after the race, but I did talk to Ronald.
Yeah.
And Ronald felt bad about the whole situation.
Right.
He did, but
Yeah.
he kind of had the same view as what I just presented to you. I mean, it was a rough situation. I mean, he was trying to get under Pope. Pope was trying to hold his position. He got into him. Could Pope have given him more room? Here we are. It's a tight situation going into turn one at Carteret County.
Yeah.
And if you don't give and take, sometimes that happens. There was a lot of contact. Going into 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Not just on the restarts. I mean, the way that track kind of comes down the front straightaway, kind of the D-shaped deal it's got, and you go diving off into 1, you come down and you want to basically go out through the grass where you get to 1, but you don't want to do that, but you kind of feel like you need to hold your position. And
to me, it looked like it makes them feel like it's negative camber, in the racetrack because of the D,
right.
And then you got to turn in turn 1. Holy
right.
cow! But we, had Brandon White, Race22.com, called up with Ronald Hill post race, and of course Pope declined comment, and Ronald spoke about the contact, and he kind of felt like he had the position, had the nose in there, and maybe felt like Pope. Maybe the spotter said he was clear, maybe he wasn't, but that's kind of the way Ronald thought about it.
Pretty upset with us at the moment, but I think if they go back and look at the replay, until I see it, I'm not going to say. I don't just take people out.
Right.
But I felt like he chopped over me, and I got into him. So if it was my fault, I apologize, but I don't think so.
I was pretty straight up with that deal right there. Ronald thought he was there and thought it was a hole. Nolan didn't, and Ronald ran into him. And so maybe overshot a little bit. I didn't want to put all the blame on neither driver because I think it was just a hard racing incident, and I truly believe that.
Yeah, I do too. I don't think either one was intentional. No question.
Right.
And
we
I
never
hate
have any issues out of these two. I mean, and unfortunately, we had a bad. I mean, how many times you hear Ronald Hill wreck somebody? I mean, you don't hear that.
Right. Yeah, and Pope, he's really, it's really been awesome to watch him mature as a driver, and I've covered races away from the tour where he's won, a 22, 23 car field. He won twin races at Tri-County. I've seen I've seen him win. I think at Hickory he won. Against Josh and those guys.
He's a good driver.
So he's really done well, and maybe the pressure. Maybe he's putting too much pressure on himself to win at the Cars Tour.
I agree. I think there's something that's changed over the last 3-4 races with him.
Can kind of tell that he's putting too much pressure on himself. And maybe he, that's just the way drivers are. Because I know he wants to win so bad in this series, and I think he is absolutely capable of winning in this series.
I agree.
And another takeaway from that is you didn't see, and I know that Lee and Michael also of that old school guys, or they know you don't go another man's pit unless you know you're going there to clean house, So, and you didn't see them over there pushing and shoving. If anything, they went over there to get their guys that was associated with their team away from there and get them back to their pit area.
Right.
So they know the etiquette and respect. when it comes down to that. If they go to, another pit, then they mean business. And if you go to their pit, you better mean business too.
That's right, exactly. I think we covered that pretty well. I think we did good on that.
I think that we'll put a button on that. So let's move along here. And speaking of the track, didn't want to leave that part out.
Oh
God. And that's got to be tough on you, especially coming down to the end. You want to get all the laps in. And then the last thing you want to do is throw a caution because of the track, and you're fighting a curfew, and the track comes up, but you don't want to see anybody tear up the car or possibly get more cars tore up and pile up or cost the leader a race because of the track. Brandon caught up with Mr. Lowry, and he addressed the issues with the track.
We've got some work to do. Of course, we had some troubles on the back stretch with the track, but we're on that Monday morning. And the Cars Tour, they didn't. They do what they fans expect them to do. They put on a heck of a show, and we appreciate them coming to Bobby Watson's Carteret County Speedway.
I got you, Bob. So what exactly was going on with the track?
Well, what it is a whole lot of water down here in our area, and it gets up underneath the track, and it causes it to do that. And so you had some pieces that was loose, and then when you get all these cars, all this horsepower, this is the most cars and the most horsepower this track's seen all year. Of course, we've been shut down half the year, and it was just a whole lot of beating and a whole lot of pressure on the track, and it gave way. But thank goodness we had a good staff that was out there that were on it. Thank the Cars Tour, they were out there helping us. My staff was out there, so we're doing what we can to keep them racing.
Right, and I know you would have wanted to get all 125 in, but there was the curfew. So have you guys always had that curfew?
There is. It's kind of like a gentleman's curfew years ago, but it's actually been put into writing now. So we try to abide by that because we live here in this community, and a lot of these folks in the communities. We want to be good to our next door neighbors. We want to be a good neighbor too.
And like we said earlier, the water table is so low there. They're right there, at the beach. So with all the rain we have, it's just something that can't be avoided. But, there's a lot of talk, hey, that track is more fitted for the legend cars and things like that. And, you put a lot of these tour type late models, and it's that many of them. But, I don't know. People are saying that, but we only go there once a year. So I just don't see that being the culprit. You know what I mean, Danny?
No, I know what you mean. I mean, every track, like we talked before, has a different flow. I like to use that word, and everyone's different. And these guys, they're running this series for a reason. Because they feel like they're the best of the best, and the money's there. We're going to different tracks. They're getting to see different, surfaces, new, old, flat, banked.
Yeah.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to blame it on the track. I'm not going to blame it on the layout because, like I've said before, we don't push the gas, we don't hit the brake. They do the driving. We don't have anything to do with that. So, they could go anywhere and have a big wreck. You can. Well, it's pretty obvious. They wreck on a 2-mile track on Sundays, and they wreck on a quarter-mile track at Bowling Green Stadium on Saturday night. So I'm not going to blame it on the racetrack.
And speaking of that, let me throw this out there too. Who's the race director at the big level?
I
don't even know who it is now.
Don? Is it Don? No. Oh, man.
I can't even think of it.
Steve O'Donnell?
Steve O'Donnell? Now, I wonder, does he ask Steve Letarte or Dale Jr. their opinion on to make a call before Tuesday on wrecks or penalties? I wonder.
Hey, I wonder.
That's just a thought. Just a thought out loud.
Just a thought. I understand.
Asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend.
But we are on Race22 Radio. This is the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour, the post-race podcast. And we got race series director Danny Willard, and we're brought to you by Black Acid Apparel. They make me look so good anytime I'm at the racetrack, and they can do that for you too. Be sure and hook up with them on Facebook and all the social medias, Black Acid Apparel. Look them up, Black Acid Apparel. Danny, let's take a look at some of the other ongoings. Did you look at any other incidents since you had, since that was a good setup, you talked about some of the tracks you can't because of the logistics. You can't, run back and forth because it's too far. It just don't make sense. But right there, you were close enough where you could. Was there any others? What about the incident between Clements and McCarty?
No, I didn't look at that one. I didn't. There was so much going on Saturday night. I mean, mentally it felt like a hurricane went in my left ear and come out my right. I mean, that's the way I felt by the end of the night. I mean, because red. After Saturday night, I don't like red anymore. I mean, that color, I just took it plumb out of my vocabulary.
Yeah.
Because every time I looked down there, it was red, yellow, red, yellow.
And Quick Creek. We don't want to talk about those no more. And Quick Creek.
We were doing, we had so many red flags and so many things going on. It's like on Sunday, I was talking to my friends, they was asking me how the race went Saturday night. I said, you really want to know? I said, everything that could go wrong pretty much went wrong Saturday night. I said, I didn't think I was ever going to get out of there. I said, we had a curfew, so that kind of decided when I was going to get out of there.
Yeah, and I'm glad that Bob addressed that, because people say, when they really have a curfew? So, he addressed that, talked about, well, it was a gentleman's agreement, but now, it's written in paper, so now they have to follow that. So I don't think people realize that. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and I asked several times, because I heard that before the race, and I asked during the race to ask Bob. I wanted to make sure during the race that we had to be done by 11 o'clock, because if there was any room that we could go further, I was going to try, but unfortunately, to be honest, with the track conditions we were having down there, the curfew, it really wasn't a bad thing, because we were down to 7 cars left, and there was a good, let's be honest, there was a good race up front. Between Riggs and Heim, and they put on a heck of a show up front.
Yeah, they did.
There was a couple times Heim, he passed him, and unfortunately we go back to the previous completed lap, and he had to give it back to him, and so there was racing.
Apparently they had Tony spun out there on the restart there. You might have to get with him on that. That was awesome. I probably would have been all tore up, especially things happen so quick, but it was awesome. Steve had to keep him straight on that. That was epic. But I just wondered if you looked at that, because I think they talked to Clements during the red flag when he was. I think they knocked him out after that. Brandon Clements. He was pretty upset at McCarty. Not too thrilled with him, apparently, or his accomplishments with the Cars Tour Series. And here's what he had to say about that situation.
Passing McCarty there for, I think, like 8th or so, and not sure how the dude's won 2 championships in this series. He's apparently don't know how to hold a steering wheel right, but to me, I think he's the biggest hack job to ever run late model stock racing. I just don't get why he tears up so many people's cars. He's got a good equipment, good car, he just no talent. We were at his door there getting in one, and he just, I don't know if he was trying to come down pit road or what, but we ended up on top of him over there, and it just tore the radiator and stuff out of our car. So ended our night, but he's still out there racing, so maybe he'll get him a win.
Who the f is that guy? Who the f is that? Who the f is that?
Wow, I'm gonna tell you what. That's pretty strong there from Brandon Clements. And I know Brandon. He's an accomplished driver down there at Carteret, Southern National, and tracks down east. But
wow.
Bobby is a 2-time champ, and Bobby's won some big races. So maybe he was just the heat of the moment, what he said there, possibly.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know Brandon. I talked to Brandon after the race. He was upset. But I'm sure we'll move on, and both guys will keep winning races at whatever venues they race at. Let's just put it that way. I feel pretty good about that.
Look at the difference of levels and who's won where. That's pretty
that's
stout words coming from Brandon Clements, and I only know him from the couple of times I interviewed him at Martinsville and a couple other places, and I don't hate.
Hey, I want to. I hope Brandon comes back and race with us again.
Oh,
maybe
absolutely.
He can, maybe he can,
and both guys, it seemed like the local guys were the first ones to have bad issues.
They did,
which I hate. I always want to see the local guys do good.
And I brought that up. I brought up the drivers' meeting how much I really appreciate those 3 local guys racing with us. I brought it up, told them guys, hey man, this is what we need. We need more teams like you. I mean, thanks for racing with us. We know some of you can't afford to race with us all the time. I mean, we wish you could, but we're glad you're here today, and we want you to come back. And if you got any questions, come ask me. We want you to be up to date on how this is going to go down and what to expect. Unfortunately, what they got during the race was, they all had some bad luck pretty much, and I hate that for them. But I'm glad they raced with us.
Yeah, absolutely, and you'll want to see more local guys, especially going down to Florence. Coming up. Of course, we'll talk about that here shortly. Some of the other news items before we go too deep, and that covered some of the on-track activity. Really hate to see Stacy smack the wall. That was on the driver's side, was it? Because he spun around. Did he hit driver's side?
You know what? I can't recall how he hit. I really don't remember.
He hit a ton on the wall. I know Camden Gully took a T-bone in one of the restarts there. One thing I wanted to address that I talked to Brandon about, that we talked for about 30 minutes. I did record. I was going to it was so good I was going to put it out on the House Call podcast, but I'm going to hold on to it until maybe we can talk about the suspension or add to it, or I'm just going to hold on to it because I had no idea. We were recording as that was sent out, and I had no idea. I guess Brandon knew because he said he talked to Jack Monday, but he didn't say anything to me about it. I had no idea. Of course, I would ask him about it, but I had no idea that was coming out. But some of the other news items, I would want to switch that quick, but Camden Gully took that T-bone. That was a hard lick, and a couple other cars. A lot of cars got tore up, so hopefully I want to see everybody get repaired and back to the next tour stop. Luckily, they got a couple of weeks to work with. Minnie Tyrell, of course, we've been talking about Brandon and all the situations. Bottom line is, really hate that Minnie Tyrell got tore up. In big thing, nobody got hurt, but they were not happy, and Brandon caught up with him. After the night, I don't think he talked to him during the red flag, and Minnie said he and his team will have to run the backup car. Said that other one's pretty kilt, he said.
I'm not quite sure. I talked to Brandon Pierce, and he claimed that I was sideways, but it's on video. The video does it justice. I mean, I don't have to speak for it any other words, but unfortunately, I'm just heartbroken for everybody on this team and my father, and we all work so hard to get where we are, and it's just destroyed. So we'll see. We'll come back even stronger, hopefully, and we'll try and see what we got.
Did you think you had anything there for Riggs?
He was pretty good. I think we definitely had probably a second place car. I think it was really good there at the end, but Riggs, he was really on it tonight. So I mean, hats off to him. He earned it.
So after the night, how do you guys approach going forward?
Well, we're gonna have to get results to our backup car, and hopefully probably use that for the rest of the season until we get this one fixed.
Tough break for Minnie. I mean, we did talk a little bit after racing. He told me he's got to get the backup car out, and I hated that for his team. I hated for all the teams that were in the crash on the front stretch. That was a pretty big crash, and hopefully everybody, that was in that, we'll get everything fixed up, be back with us at Florence in a couple of weeks, and, we can do it again and not have all this tore up stuff, maybe have a really, really great race.
Yeah, because in the article that was out, Race22.com, with Brandon White that did that. Great article, Brandon. Appreciate everything he's done with Race22.com. I don't think Jack wants to see that crash him up Saturday night, bash him up on the tour. I think he made that pretty clear. so yeah, we want to see some good racing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But some other news items we talked about the penalties. The late model stock car will be crowned at the last scheduled event on the calendar. Right now, it is as today. What's today? The 17th. September, as we're recording, North State Nationals. Right now, as we sit today, and we're still uncertain with how things are going with this stupid governor we got. It's scheduled for October 18th, 30,000 to win, North State Nationals, Orange County Speedway. It's still on the schedule, still uncertain as we're sitting today. For the super late models, the short track nationals at the Bristol Motor Speedway. That's coming up here soon. But it is, we'll have Cars Tour drivers there. We want to wish them the best. It is not for points, but want to see one of our regulars win that race. That would be awesome to be represented there. Of course, as soon as we put the last podcast in the can, they canceled the Peach State Classic that very same day that I sent out the last podcast. So
I know
10,000 win Peach State Classic, which we always keep it open. It's still pending. Everything is pending. But yeah, that 10,000 win Peach State Classic at Gresham has been canceled for the super late models. So now the Cars Tour Super Late Model Champ would now be crowned at the All-American 400 in Nashville. And that'll be run November 1st at the Nashville in Nashville, Tennessee, at the Nashville Fairgrounds. Now, will you be a part of that officiating? Since it'll be a combination type tour race.
To be determined. To be honest with you, possibly. That hasn't been discussed yet. I don't know what part of our staff might be included in that. I'm sure there'll be a handful of our guys working with the other sanctioning bodies that are associated with that event. So, you can't have, every sanctioning body's race director calling, we can't all do it together. So, I'm sure, one of us will be doing it, but that hasn't been addressed yet or discussed.
Gotcha. It'd be cool to see one of our regulars up there and take the win and be crowned, get all the attention up there, and have the Cars Tour logos all over the place. Represent.
That's right.
That would be awesome. That'd be awesome to go up there and watch, too.
That's right.
Back to the late model stock car, 30,000 to win, October 18th. Now, let's address that real quick. On a personal level, I've got vacation a couple days before and a couple days after. Now, even if it's not at Orange County Speedway, which I really hope so, really, really hope so, because I want to do some live broadcasting on that Friday night from Smoking Dave's Barbecue. Have some drivers out there, have me and Danny out there doing some live broadcasting with Black Acid Apparel, have her race car out there, have maybe some of the other race cars out there, a bunch of drivers, fire truck, guns, and women. Wait a minute, that's off script. Got a little excited there for a little bit. Get some biker chicks out there, red-headed biker chicks. Oh, man. Woo! Now we talking.
I hear you.
But even if it's not on that weekend, if it's not at Orange County, why can't we have it that same weekend if we can't have it on Orange County weekend? Change my mind.
Well, I'm all for you. I'm all with you. I mean,
now hear me out. Now, these teams, the team owners, it's been on the schedule long enough, and they've planned ahead, okay? Okay, now, governor says we can't have it in Orange County. Let's move it next week. Now, think of the logistics and how hard it is on the teams.
Right.
And because it's going to be more than just our regulars. I mean, think about last year. All the guys that want to come, not just for the car store, but want to come for the race for the money.
Correct. And we're thinking it's going to be bigger this year than it was last year
I bet
because
so,
because Martinsville's not having their big race. I think there will be the possibility to have even more cars, hopefully.
Yep, there's going to be a bazillion cars there. So I bet I could think of 5 tracks right now that will say, yep, you can have it that same weekend. And no matter where we go, I bet you we can find a place to do some live broadcasting. That's
I
that's
think
on a
so.
personal
I'm
level.
with you. I'm with you. I don't want to. I'm all for that weekend. That's the weekend I had on my calendar marked.
Yep.
I know all the race teams did. I know majority of the fans did.
Yep.
I mean, I know in this racing business though, flexibility is a plus.
Yep.
On scheduling, I do know that. And with this year, with the pandemic and everything going on, and our governor, maybe hey, I got a good idea. Maybe our governor will sponsor a race at Ace Speedway.
I bet. There won't be no scheduling conflicts there. There won't be one at Motor Mile.
Yeah. I mean, maybe. I'm all for it. I mean, I'm sure Jason Turner would love that. Jason and Robert.
I bet Lonesome Pine would be available.
Lonesome Pine. I'm sure there are great friends at Lonesome Pine would love it. But
I did that race last week. Had a ball. Had a absolute wonderful time out there. Fans, they packed that place. First race back to asphalt.
Track.
I mean, that was quite the honor to get to announce the first race back to asphalt after they tried to grow taters out there for a while.
Well, I'm sure you knocked it out of the park. I'm
I got lucky.
Sure. You might be a little rusty, but I'm sure them fans loved you.
I got lucky. I think I could have went out there and did a timeshare seminar, and they'd have loved it. They were just that hungry for asphalt racing.
That's awesome. And, I mean, I'm glad the track's back asphalt. I'm glad it's back to Lonesome Pine Speedway, the name. I want the place to succeed up there. I really do. I mean, maybe one day we can go back up there and race at the car store. Who knows? Maybe that'd be an option down the road. I don't know.
Well, since they're asking, the TV broadcast for opinions on penalties, maybe they'll ask podcasters for opinion on scheduling.
Hey, I'm all for it. I mean, we want the fans. I mean, they do that. They used to do ask what tracks they want us to go to. Make sure all you Lonesome Pine people, make sure you vote.
Make noise. That's right.
Let's make sure you make your voice heard and vote. I mean, election time too, please. In November, also for the car store, on possible new tracks that we can go race at. I mean, I'm all for it. I love going to different tracks, like I've said over and over again. I mean, that's what makes a touring series a touring series. Yeah. I mean, going to different tracks, different situations, like we talked earlier, asphalt, concrete, bank, flat. I mean, these guys, we don't want to be the cookie cutter series that some other series is. I won't talk about that. Looks like they may be going backwards a little bit to short track racing, NASCAR. But anyway, we're doing great. I mean, we just. I think the future's bright for the series. I mean, I think we've come this far. I'm glad I've been a part of it since it started up with the super and late model stock deal. And unfortunately, on a serious note, the $30,000 to win race could be the weekend after the weekend we have scheduled. I mean, from what I've been told by the big dog down there, and
in other words, a reliable source.
Yeah, and the home office. Yeah, I don't know the venue. I do not know the venue. I honestly don't. Jack,
did he say would it be in a mountainous region or a seaboard region?
He's not telling me much this time. I guess last time I must have told some people about where we were going last time or something. I don't know. He must not.
Oh, way to go, Danny. Way to go.
Yeah, I guess the trust issue is out the window now. But
yeah, wait till he hears this podcast.
Oh yeah, when he hears this podcast, it ought to be but like I said, everybody has an opinion in this deal, and I'm not going to always agree with Jack, and he's not going to always agree with me, and that's the way it should be, because everybody has an opinion still. This is stock car racing. This is it's a very tricky business sometimes. Yeah. I mean, it really is. I mean, just like any professional sport. I mean, it's hard sometimes to make decisions and make calls, and you just got to use your best judgment and move on.
Yep. That is true. That is true, my friend. Let's see. One more news item, Danny. How was your date last night?
Which one?
I thought you had a skate date. Didn't you have a skate date?
Let's see. What was yesterday? Yesterday was Wednesday. That was Tuesday.
Oh, that was Tuesday. That's right.
Yeah, I did some speed roller skating. I'm still doing that with my son. I mean, great exercise. Great exercise. I mean, people got to do something to halfway stay in shape, and I do some speed roller skating and some other things.
Danny's out there trying to get in shape, and I'm sitting over here just being in shape. So.
Yeah, but different strokes for different folks. Hey, don't make you. You're still a great guy regardless. I mean, if you skate or whatever.
I grill and eat, and that's
well, I like to eat too. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
And back to talking about racing. So didn't think I'd ever be back at it, but here we are. But seriously, that's what the delay was. The old purple laptop. That thing is what, 12, 13 years old. It's got Windows 1 on it.
Windows 1. That is old. That is old. Yeah, you're a little bit behind time there, my friend.
It's so old it prints in pencil. All right.
I'm surprised it even prints. I mean, but hey, that's great.
Well, at some point tonight, we need to do at least a top 10. What do you think?
Hey, sounds good to me. We usually cover that, so I don't see why we would change it.
Yeah, I think we are too. All right, here we go. All right, top 10, of course. Let's see, how many lap leaders did we have?
Next question.
Lane had them covered, didn't he? My goodness.
Yeah.
Last year he went through all those struggles, and
he's really good there. I mean, all jokes aside, we're picking around.
And we talked about that last podcast. I said, hey,
he's really good
look at these stats, and man, he made us look like geniuses, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a really good car, and so not surprised that Lane won that race. I mean, I'm not. I mean, his team, they were on it from start to finish, and I've seen him win there before, and that was no big surprise. I mean, he had some competition though. I mean, he had to earn it.
He had to earn it, absolutely, and they were on his heels. He had to push the whole time. He didn't cruise. No question. He won.
I'm going to tell you, if the caution wouldn't come out in certain times, I mean, hey, Mr. Heim might have been in victory lane. Who knows? I mean, it could have gotten more interesting, but we never got to that point.
Right, yeah. Everybody can, second guess and say because of this, because of that. Who knows? The pole time was 16.133, and that is officially 89.258 miles per hour. They were about a half a second off the pole track record. So the track, from watching it, I was there last year, but watching it this year and being able to view it differently, the track did seem different this year. It just seemed like they just could not get a hold of it, and it was so tight, just like they had a half a groove to work with this year. It just seems so tight. Top 20, it was .487. Top 10 was barely 2.5 tenths. The track record is a 15.677. So yeah, they were way off the track record. So usually this year we hadn't been that far off the track record. So, he was on it, led every lap, but they were on his heels. But they're late in the going after that situation. His car really fired off well after that red flag, and the margin of victory was almost 2 seconds. So down the stretch before that last red flag, he had the better car. So you can shoulda, woulda, coulda, with that pass, there before, they had to go back to the last lap. Who knows? Because Lane's car was really good down the stretch. So, but anyway. And, of course, Race22.com, Brandon caught up with Lane Riggs after the post-race. And it sounded like they caught up with him at the pub or the bar, whatever they call it, Moonshiners. They're in the infield. That's what it sounded like.
Moonshiners,
Yeah, caught up with him in the infield, which is pretty neat. said the felt good to be the first driver with 2 wins. You know, we finally broke that. We've been highlighting that this year. He's said it felt good to be the first driver with 2 wins. Said the car was on point all weekend long.
Yeah, man, it feels really good. Car was on point pretty much all weekend. Just made small, minor adjustments. Knew we had a good car. Just had to save our stuff for the right time. It was a wild night. Track came apart 3 times. Cars, pretty much every car in the field got tore up, besides a couple that finished. So, I hate it for all them and everything that happened, but here we are in victory lane, and like you said, we're one of the only happy ones here. But I want to definitely be on the good side of the stick.
Right, yeah, and your car is a little bit torn up there too from that contact with Corey Heim. So, were you worried about him nudging you out of the way?
I wasn't really expecting it at first, and then realized that he was hungry too, and that he had to do whatever it took, which I respect, to get the win. But at the same time, anytime he'd get my bumper, he hit me, and I knew that if he could have got to me good enough, he would have went ahead and turned me around. So I was ready to give back to him if I had to.
I hear you, Lane, and you have 2 straight wins. I know Fryer, he got a good finish tonight, so you dig a little bit more into his points lead, maybe like 10-9 back or something like that. So how do you approach these final 2 races with a championship on the line?
Just got to go in there like every other race, go try to win. So got to be consistent. And if you can't win, you just got to salvage the best finish you can.
And as we said, Corey Heim finished second. Said he's pretty happy with the finishing results, but the weekend didn't start out that good.
We struggled a lot in practice yesterday and this morning. We thought we were a pretty mediocre car, but we made some gains. I think we ended up qualifying 6th, I'm pretty sure, so started on the outside, but after that we played our cards right and got inside starting spots from there on out, which is really important at this track. So we definitely played our cards right. We were there at the end, avoided all the wrecks, obviously, and had a good race with Lane, but unfortunately came home 1 spot short. Yeah, it's if you ever get out in front of Lane after roughing him up, you're going to expect something back. That's just how he drives, and how most people drive in the Tour. So, it is what it is. I thought we definitely had the spot there when we got out in front of him. I didn't really do anything extra to get him out of the way. Just moved him and got in front of him, and caution came out. He got the spot back, and when I hit him on the second restart, it caved my entire nose in, and that kind of just really made me tight. Kind of acted like a parachute and just ruined my downforce. So, just unfortunate circumstances there at the end. Couldn't get us to win, but came in with second, and I'm pretty happy with it.
Points leader Jared Fryer finished 3rd. Connor Mozak, the only other car that's finished every lap. He and Jared Fryer finished 4th. Bobby McCarty, through all his trials and tribulations, finished 5th. Ronald Hill finished 6th. Brandon Pierce did finish 7th. Jessica Can, now she holds the sole position, highest finishing position by a female driver in series history, by the team working hard to get her back out there. She finished 8th. So you go, girl power. And I know you weren't exactly happy with her in the beginning. Everybody was supposed to go to the high side.
Correct.
When they get past are getting lapped, and she hugged the bottom, and so
we did discuss that.
And had to have a discussion with her. So
we did,
and I know last year she had a bad experience.
She did.
Coming up when the leaders were coming up on her, going into 1, I think it was. I remember being there. But really proud of her, though. She stayed out, did good there, and she did get caught up in a huge wreck, and was worried about her because she was right in the middle. She had nowhere to go. It took a pretty hard lick there, but ended up finishing 8th. The crew got her back out there to make some more laps, so now she holds the highest finishing position by any female racer. And she is, last year's most popular driver. And from her perspective, some of these guys are opting out of the Touring 12 and swapping drivers, Touring 12. And now you got a guy that, kind of getting booted out and can't, join next year. And here she is, made no bones about it. She wanted to join and was told whatever she was told, and it upset her, and they didn't want nothing to do with the Cars Tour, so they decided to bury the hatchet, and here they are racing and supporting and spending their own money to sponsor and promote the series.
Correct.
And no matter where they go, they have tons of fans cheering for them, tons of fans wanting to come to the racetrack to cheer for them. I wonder if the decision makers, I'm not going to call anybody out by name, but I wonder if the decision makers are wondering now, maybe we should have chose her. Asking for a friend.
Yeah, I can't answer that, but I know she was on the list. I mean, she was under consideration for the Turin 12. I mean, she was the only one that didn't make it.
Yep.
And, there was a list there. I don't know how many cars were on it. I know she was on it. All right.
And here she is, most popular driver, spends her own money to promote the series, and sponsors a lot of things to help promote the series. I mean,
correct.
I mean,
yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I mean,
every time we go to a racetrack, I mean, people come to the track to cheer for.
Right.
When they, when we can finally do a pit party, where's most of the fans at? Between her and Minnie Terrell,
right?
Right.
I mean,
let's be honest.
I mean, they're both very popular drivers, and
from number one, if she starts, she'll finish. She will stay with it.
She supports the series.
She
supports the series 100%. And that's great.
Yep.
I mean, that's great. And I do know what you're saying there.
And that's all the point I wanted to make.
Right.
So she finished 8th, and she solely sponsors this podcast that solely promotes the Cars Tour on the post race. The Cars Tour does not pay anything for this.
Correct.
They pay you because you're the series, so that makes it a sole part of the series. So I think that counts, and that keeps you coming back.
Right. I get paid for the race directing part and the race day deal.
Yep.
And then you and I get together and have a little fun, and
that's right.
Which I'm all for it. I mean, I want to promote the series, and I always enjoy talking to you about the racing.
Yep. And the series is worth it. That's the way I look at it. So.
Correct.
Anyway, we got sidetracked a little bit. 8th, Jessica. Nolan did get to keep his finishing position at 9th. Stacy Perrier, even though he had major issues, rounded out your top 10. And as always, for a full field rundown, be sure and keep your eyes on carsracingtour.com and or race22.com. Let's take a quick look at the points. Let me put my big eyes on so I can see. Jared Fryer is your leader. Lane Riggs gnawed into that lead some. 7 points now separate your top 2. Corey Heim, he's in the hunt as well. 16 points behind your leader. Connor Mozak, he's not out of question for him as well. 22 points. Bobby McCarty, don't count him out. 23 points. Top 5 separated by 23 points. 2 races to go. That is fantastic.
Oh yeah, this points battle. It's like we've been talking. I mean, it's going to come down to the last race. I don't know who's going to win this deal. I mean, we got a handful of drivers, still in the mix there. Anything can happen. I mean,
think about it. And who knows what heavy hitter is going to come from the outside for the big money. But these guys are going to be racing for a championship and $30,000. Minus one of those 5, we don't want to, foresee any major development. But if one of them crash out early and the first one out and really lose a lot of points, if these guys finish close to each other on that last race, these 5 guys are racing for a championship and $30,000. Tell me that's not going to fill the stands up.
Well, if it don't, something's wrong. I mean, because you got a points battle, plus you got a battle over rights to win the biggest late model stock race of the year.
Yep.
I mean,
and
so
you got a lot of guys wanting to come in and spoil that too and be.
Oh yeah, some heavy hitters. I mean, we look for some big names to show up. I mean, we invite them all. I mean, come race with us. I mean, we've had Looney show up and run with us this year. Mike Looney at Franklin. I hope he'll come back.
I expect to see him. I want to see Peyton Sellers. I want to see him come race with us. I know he'll do well and be very competitive. Super class from top to bottom. I'd love to see him. You figure Lee will get off the toolbox and come race with us and defend his crown.
I hope so.
And,
I hope Lee comes back and races with us in that one. I think
I know everybody else don't.
No, he when he pulls in, you got a race, that's for sure. And same way with Peyton and Mike Looney and all those guys. A lot of respect for them. We want them to come race with the Cars Tour. We do. We the door's wide open. Come race with us. Like I said, I praised the locals down there last weekend. I thanked them several times for racing with us, and we got an open door policy. Come race with us. Give us a try.
Absolutely.
And that $30,000 race would be a real good one to come give us a try on. If you can't make it to Florence, we'd love to have you at Florence.
Oh yeah. I really expect to see a good crowd down there, and it's going to be a fantastic race, no question. Finish out the top 10 here. McCarty's in 5th. Nolan Pope 6th. Those guys, Nolan got to keep his points in his finishing position. Jonathan Schaefer got caught up in that wreck. I texted his dad, see if he was okay. He's didn't get hurt. He was okay. Checked on Brandon. He's okay. Jonathan Finley was okay. Brandon's finished 8th. Finley's 9th. Chad McCumbee, who I really thought was going to be fast, and about the time he showed himself to be in the contention and in the hunt, is when the big melee started. He and Justin Johnson. Justin Johnson was coming on strong, and Minnie Tyrell's in 11th, Justin Johnson 12th.
Yes, he was.
About the time he got called up too as well. And I really hated that for Justin, because I thought he was going to really have a good car come down the stretch.
Jason Stanley and that crew, they've been working hard on that thing, trying to get it back up front. I know they work hard, and it was good to see Justin back up there, competing up front.
Yeah, it's always good to see. I'm so glad that he's racing with us. Such a great guy, classy organization.
Tough competitor.
Really good competitor, and got a cute little family. His little family's so cute.
He does.
He's outnumbered.
Yeah, he's outnumbered. He ain't going to win that battle.
But there's 51, 52 different late model drivers that has attempted to make a Cars Tour race this year. So really proud of that during a pandemic year. So that is a pretty good stat when you look at the grand scheme of things.
Right.
So for a full points rundown, if you want to try to look at some of the other drivers that have raced with us, see where they stack up, be sure and check out carsracingtour.com and race22.com. Well, Danny, let's take a look at the upcoming race. I looked up some neat things for Florence. October 3rd, next race for the late model stocks. It'll be race number 9. October 3rd for the late model stocks. Florence, the Aaron's 250. And it'll be a dual race.
It is.
Super late models. And it'll be race number 6 for the late models, for a points race for the super late models at the Florence Motor Speedway, Timmonsville, South Carolina. Be the first ever Cars Tour event at Florence. So I think that's very exciting. It's not the first time super late models have been there, but it's first time for the Cars Tour. Here's what I got for you. It is a 4/10 mile. It opened up as a dirt track in 1982. Where were you at in 1982?
1982, probably trouble. Probably trouble. I'm trying to. Yeah. Pretty sure I was. Somewhere around 82, I'm pretty sure I was in trouble.
I believe that.
Yeah. Thank God I made it through it. But yeah, 82. I was a race fan then. I'm still a race fan now.
Oh, yeah.
But 82.
Did you graduate from high school?
No, I graduated in 88. I graduated in 88, so I was still in school.
Lord, 88.
Yeah. I don't know. 82, around that time, I was probably,
You're still pooping your pants.
Yeah, probably was. I hope not. But, I know I was going to a lot of racetracks back then. 82, I know I was big on going to Caraway back in the day and Hickory, places like that. Me and my dad, we used to go to a bunch of races.
Heyday.
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
I did all the correct steps to get where I'm at. I mean, I was a race fan before I got to where I'm at. A big race fan. We used to go watch a lot of racing. Big late model sportsman fan, big Sam R fan back in '82. So I'm pretty sure wherever I was at, Sam R was probably racing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, running for a national championship or something.
Yeah, that's back in the good old days.
Yes, sir.
I was a freshman at Pulaski County High School, Pulaski, Virginia. Probably watching Orville Reedy race at Franklin County Speedway, going down to Hickory, watching Tommy Houston race and that gang.
Jack Ingram and them guys?
Yeah, and it was paved in '87. Where were you at in '87? You were in high school. What high school did you go to?
I went to North Davidson.
Okay.
In Welcome, North Carolina. Yeah, I graduated from North Davidson.
So
I was a Black Knight.
I was in the Air Force in '87.
I hear you.
It seats around 4,000 fans, it says, and they normally race on Saturday nights. And I remember that's the just recently purchased by the what they call Speedway Plus Productions LLC. They purchased the track, and that's formed by Steve Zacharias, Brian Voss, and Savannah Brotherton. And so some of the races that have held there, back in June of '89, the All-Pro Series. Now, they were super late models, offset chassis, and all that good stuff. And back then, they had almost crazy horsepower. That's when Lee Falk raced with them. Joe Nemechek won that race. I bet Lee raced that race. I bet you.
He probably did.
I should have looked up the full rundown to see where he finished. Because I bet if I asked him, he said he won it. And I'm going to say, look at there, Joe Nemechek.
Oh, you didn't. Joe Nemechek did. Try again.
But that was a staple on the Goodies Dash series for years.
Yes, yes.
The good old UARA Stars race there, late model. Now, I never went down there. I didn't come along with them until after they didn't go there.
When they went, I was sitting in the stands. I wasn't working with them, but I did support them as a fan.
First time they went there was 2002. Robert Powell won the race. And then Robert Elliott has won. Jason York has won. Jamie Caudill has won. Super Late Models has raced there. Charlie Bradbury won a race. Alex Yantz has won a race there, 2006. He's now a big-time crew chief in the Busch Series. I don't care what they got. It's still the Busch Series to me.
That's right.
ASA Late Model Series race there in 2006. James Busher, who made it up to the big time. Southeast Limited Late Model Junior Elite Series says Gage Painter, who's raced with us at Hickory and some other places. Sharp little racer there. So those are some of the late model series that's raced there. So I expect our race to be fantabulous, no doubt. So
I do too.
Look ahead, and looking forward to see the super late models there, and we will be there in person for that. So looking forward to that, no question. But that is October 3rd, race number 9 for the late models and race number 6 for the super late models at the Florence Motor Speedway in Timmonsville, South Carolina. Man, I can't wait. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. I mean, it's a real racy track. I mean, guys got room to really go at it down there. I mean, like I said, it's been a long time since I've been there. I was talking to Phil with the tires that keeps up with our tires for our series the other night, and we was talking about how long it's been since we've actually been to Florence, and been way too long. I think both of us were down there around 2006 or something like that, 2007. So been several years. Been keeping up with the track through the years. Just hate I hadn't been able to make it down there, so I'm looking forward to getting back with the car store down there.
I've never been there, so I'm looking forward to going down there. Daniel, he's marked off a couple of tracks. He's been excited to visit tracks for the first time, and so he's marked off a couple of tracks so far this year, and he's excited to go and mark off another one. So we're going to go down there and shoot some videos and some interviews, and hopefully have a good time and see an exciting race, and hopefully don't get beat up on by Jack too bad.
Yeah, I hope not. I mean, yeah, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'll put my helmet on. If he don't have his on, I'll have mine on. How's that sound?
I'm gonna put mine on. I'm gonna put mine on when I get there, just in case.
Yeah.
I'll just tell him it's for entertainment purposes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, it's a safety thing. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
But Danny, I thank you for joining us. Anything else we need to touch on or hit on? Anything you got been holding back on us?
No, sir. I don't have any more news than what we just talked about. And, if it does pop up, I guess we'll catch it in our next podcast after Florence.
Well, you've been doing a fantastic job on these podcasts, and you always answer the questions, even when I really dig at you. You've been doing a really fine job and answering them really good and honest and straight up. So I appreciate that, and so do the fans. I think the fans appreciate that and the insight and how and why and what forth and all this good stuff. So they enjoy hearing from the fan or the drivers, the sound bites. So we're going to try to incorporate that a little bit more. And each podcast, I'm learning a little bit more about what the fans want, and hopefully next year we can have a good formula and knock it out the same time each week. Because come Monday, I'm getting text. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? So, and I love it. People, I hate to bother you, but man, it just tells me we're on to something. And I hope the series sees that too. Because I really think we're on to something. I really do. So
yes. I mean, I'll be honest, we got some great fans that follow us on the car store. Whether it's by Pit Road TV or showing up at the track or whatever. I mean, that's what keeps everything ticking. And I meet a lot of great people when I go to these racetracks, and I bump into them in the stands or the parking lot or whatever. And if you ever see me around, make sure you say hello. I'll be happy to speak to you.
Heck,
I mean, that's what it's all about. I'm just a good old boy having fun and love going racing.
First and foremost, we're fans. We're fans
That's
first.
Right.
That's
exactly. First and foremost.
That's right. And so we're fans too. We just found a way to incorporate that to do this, and we just got lucky, and because we were fans first, and we'll always be fans first. And
that's right.
I always enjoy talking to fans, and that's one thing I do enjoy is the passion. I'd love to see the passion from the fans and see them get excited and get wound up at the track. And if you give me a microphone at the track, I'm going to get the fans wound up at the track, no doubt.
That's right. That's right.
Ask them at Lonesome Pine.
You still got it, brother. You still got it.
Well, with that, I think we better call it a night, brother.
Yeah, it's been a long day, and I'm sorry it took a couple days to get with you. I'm glad you got your toys fixed over there. And
yeah, I think we got I got a good formula going here. I think we'll be okay.
That sounds like a winner, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
Absolutely, and we will be at Florence Motor Speedway October 3rd, so we want to see everybody there trackside for race number 9 for the late model stocks, race number 6 for the super late models. Aaron's 250 at the Florence Motor Speedway in Timminsville, South Carolina. For Danny Willard, I'm Doc Love. Until next time, we'll see you at the races.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.